Terence Crawford vs. Tszyu is rumored to be happening for the WBO super welterweight title after Tszyu fights Keith Thurman. Now, who actually will win this fight? Well, let's take a look at their latest performances, in which Terence Crawford fought David Alvacin, in which this was a very close fight in the beginning until Terence Crawford started letting his hands go and knocked out David in round 6.
Crawford's taking it off the gears.
After this, he went on to fight Errol Spence Jr., in which he dropped him in round 2.
Spence. Back comes Crawford with the jab.
Then dropped him twice in round 7.
Here comes Spence, though, as Crawford the 7th. A big shot!
And then finished the job in round 9.
Spence hurt again. All right, hook that wobbles him. Spence might be going down again, and this one is over.
Now let's take a look at Tszyu's latest performances, in which he fought Carlos Ocampo, in which Tszyu dropped him.
And look for that shot, like that right there. Here he goes!
And then Carlos got up just to get knocked out in round 1.
Right hands pouring through.
After this, Tszyu went on to fight Brian Mendoza, in which he completely destroyed him every single round, and Tszyu won by decision.
So it's good news that Terence Crawford is going up in weight, because it's also been said that Errol Spence Jr. is also going to go up in weight, so that weight division is going to be stacked with new competition and new faces. And if everything turns out to be true, then I think this fight is very likely of happening, because Tszyu has called out Terence Crawford in many interviews, saying things like everybody wants to come to this weight division, but they know who the real boogeyman is. And he's not wrong, because even Jermell Charlo got his WBO title stripped from him because he refused to fight Tszyu, who was a mandatory challenger. But before we talk about Terence Crawford versus Tszyu, we have to wait and see what Tim does against Keith Thurman, because he is scheduled to fight him on the same card that Pitbull Cruz is fighting Rolly Romero, which will be happening on March 30th. So depending on how Tszyu does in that fight, it could either ruin his hype and confidence for the fight with Terence Crawford, or it could either build his hype and confidence for the fight with Terence Crawford, which I would like to see Tszyu actually stop Keith Thurman, which I know most will say that's a big and unrealistic possibility, but if he does, then it will have a lot of people talking about him. So in the end, let's say that Tim wins this fight against Keith Thurman, then goes on to fight Terence Crawford. Does he win that fight with Terence Crawford? Well, I believe that it will be a very close fight, definitely a challenge for both men, and I don't have a blueprint on how that fight will go, because it can go either way.